writers of our time. He is undoubtedly the world's most influential poet and dramatist. His works have been studied by many people and his plays have been made into movies and even live performances. His life was full of knowledge, devotion and determination. He taught us the real meaning of literature. In each of his plays, we find the grim reality of human consciousness. Shakespeare's presentation of women in his plays demonstrates his feeling about women and their role in the society. In his plays, women do not constitute main character, yet they play an important part. We can see the impact of society and time on the feminine characters in his plays. During Shakespearean age, women had a very little authority, autonomy and independence. They gained their status based on the position of their father or husband. They were expected to be a silent observer. Under those circumstances, Shakespeare created such beautiful and memorable characters like Cordelia, Desdemona, Cleopatra, Juliet, Rosalind, Lady Macbeth, Helena, Hermia, Olivia and Viola, etc. All these unforgettable characters act as a mirror to Shakespearean age. Thus, the main concern of this research paper is to highlight the correlation of these women characters with the time and society and in what ways they act as a mirror of reflection. According to the research carried out, it has been observed that Shakespeare's portrayal of women in his plays reflect the conception of women in his era. What we see throughout Shakespeare's plays is an insight into the female characters as perceived by Elizabethan culture. They were to be virtuous and obedient. Shakespeare presents two types of women, one those who were submissive, obedient and moral, and second those who were independent, dominating and evil counterpart. Women appeared as a supporting and central character in Shakespeare's dramatic and poetic works. Shakespeare did write of characters that were strong and were witty. Women were different from female ideas in the time that he wrote. The historical records reveals that the position of women in society was extremely miserable. At the time of Shakespeare's play, women were bound to the rules and conventions of patriarchal of Elizabethan era. He has scrutinized, observed and represented women carefully in his writings, showing both a positive and negative attitude towards the female character, especially in his tragedies. Shakespeare, with his extraordinary genius for portraying human behavior, depicts the condition of women in a patriarchal society. His women characters, showing their richness, translation, and so man voice performed the role both of sexes. In Shakespeare's time, England was a high patriarchal society. In his light, women are considered physically and emotionally weaker than the men. They are bound to subject to their male counterparts as wives or daughters. Shakespeare's plays are full of resourceful and self-confident women who created their own space and achieve or represent a spirited independence. There are several different personalities in Shakespeare's plays who assert themselves in a very different way. Lady Macbeth, Viola, Rosalind, Desdemona, Cordelia. From the character of Cordelia, it can be true that Shakespeare had so much knowledge about the true woman and how to present their reality in their works. Now Desdemona in Othello. Desdemona presented as a lady of spirit and intelligence. She is the most directed and honest speaker in the play. Her words are meaningful and have a faith in them. Like every woman, she loves her husband Othello, devoted to her lover. In a wartime at Cyprus, she continues to fulfill her duties. She is abused by four male characters in the play. First is Brabantio, who misjudges and then rejects her. Rodrigo, who seeks an adulterous relation with her. Iago, who uses her cruelty to further his own revenge, and her husband Othello, who is Lord of sacrifices. Like every woman, she was strong, but the norms and conditions of this male society brutally broke her, and in the end, she died innocently. Thus, the Shakespeare presented the Desdemona as a true realistic and idealistic woman. There are a number of women characters in which Shakespeare presented his thought. But among them, one character in his works, he wants the elimination of gender discrimination and advocates the true liberation of women in society. That's all about my research paper. Thank you so much.
had only heroines, no heroes. Someone
Shakespeare has only heroines and
not
not
only
heroes.
Okay.
Who said?
Who said in which context?
She was in,
Why did she love? What made her love?
Yes.
she was influenced by his stories.
Okay. She was influenced by his stories, and actually her father called Othello to listen to his stories, and those stories make what you are, and that is why read as many stories as you can, and be very adept in telling stories. You should know how to tell your story. Okay, so every story unwraps itself in a different way. Okay, and here these two guys get married because of those stories. And why did he kill her? Again, due to some stories.
The next presenter is Panchal Jinal from M A Semester 4. Good morning all of you. Myself Panchal Jinal, respected principal sir and my dear friends. Here I would like to my topic to discuss here the relationship between religion and science on research paper. I am from this college, Trinity College of Arts, Palanpur. First of all, now religion and the science in with humanist and creation of the example. The research done is the study of the indicative and the inspired from the grounded theory. Furthermore, M to be the explanation, this more specifically a literature analysis, the ambition of the essay and identify of relationship. Exclusively thought, secondly, the source of the analysis will be the inspired by the Landweber, 1998. Theoretical within the religion and science. However, this essay will be the only have a three divisions are the science and the trade and professionality, harmony and disruptive dominance purpose. The research done is the secondary solution of the various perspective and theories. Understanding and knowledge, it was the needed in order for this waste of subject. When defined, however, if the subject to be the become more accurate, then I needed be more anchoring. This can be the term needed and clear understanding too of the field, religion and science. Now here I would like to discuss keywords. Creationist, humanist, relationship, religion and science. Introduction is that the section begin with the presentation as the by chosen with a personal touch. The belief of the description of the field will be the introducing lastly their purpose, research question and delimitation and be announced. After that, definition and background of the humanism and creation will be presented. Here I would like to topic discuss and background. This essay will be take a closer look at the relationship between the science. Religion are to the most with their religion because they cloud with the heart to trust what they believe and the true and the complete different level. This also led to religion expanding, spelling faster and further outside. Thought the length of the humanist and creationist. I would like to out of the there can agree on anything on their faith or not possible yet. Somewhere in the middle mode specifically, it religion can the harmonize or not of even both. I believe that humanism embodies science in this day and age of about the sometime. The values lead our church. It was the more of the reads and then lifestyle. Even since I moved up to Sweden in 2012, my faith has changed significantly. The short time I have been in Sweden has completely changed my whole life. Perspective. Even before I started studying religion, I understand that the most Swedish people are not religion. All of the religion that I have attained over here has caved up to distance myself from the faith entirely, but rather than because of newer religion and the way agnostic that is the belief, the something or someone created earth but What was the humanist belief in science in the because scientific method? Time proved to be successful in creeping in the world. We have the bit of the their future prediction. Creation. Richard Norman described in this book the humanism and the creation is the belief in the first chapter of the Bible. The first Richard Norman presented several interesting aspects of the relationship between the religion and science. He argues that the sins of the scientists have a prominent position in society that receive report hiddenly. The fact that more people believe in the Darwin's evolutionary theory more than the creation. All boiled down of the demons, the theory being the more relevant than the creation and furthermore. Proof of the science exists every day and everywhere. This means that the people do not have a blindly believe in science development. The conveys life also can lie today the thanks to scientists and the modern tech.
Thank you, Jinal. Now I would like to call on stage Professor Mukesh Rawal to address the students.
Thank you. When we breathe, we respire. When we breathe, we respire. When we don't breathe, we expire. So when we conceive, when cognition happens, we become happy. And when we do not conceive, we gap. We yawn, we gap. So cognition is important. Whether it is a cognition of a book, whether it is a cognition of words, smelling, present. Dr. Kapoor has thrown so much light on the theme of cognition, literature, books, conception, conceiving. But cognition has also some stages with our maturation, with our growing up. Let me share with you one beautiful example. All of you must have seen the movie Sholay. Sholay, story of Gabbar Singh. Kaliya, kitne aadmi the? 3,000. So when I was a small child, that movie came. And I recall that at least I was in the 8th or 9th standard when that movie came. That was the movie. Because being a very adventurous person in my life from the childhood, the character of Gabbar Singh attracted me most. The style of speaking, the style of rubbing tobacco, putting it into the mouth. That style of Gabbar Singh's style was more popular than Pushpa's style. In those days, Gabbar Singh was more popular than Pushpa. आस पास के कई मिलों में जब कोई बच्चा होता है तो उसकी माँ उसको कहती है कि बेटा सो जा वरना गब्बर आ जाएगा. Look at the stages of cognition. How we conceive the things with maturing, with growing up. So at the time of secondary level, when I again watched the movie Sholay, it was not Gabbar Singh that attracted me a lot, but it was now the love story of Viru and Basanti that attracted me most. And I was interested in watching only the love story of Dharmendra and Amawari, nothing else. Earlier when I saw the movie, when I watched the movie, I was interested in the character of Gabbar Singh. Now I am interested in the characters of Basanti and Veer. There were 3 attempts of watching the movie Sholay that never came to attract my heart. So this is the cognition. With the age, our cognition levels change. with the age, with the maturity, the more we become mature, our cognition level deviates. So cognition is not a permanent thing. Your cognition levels, your cognitive things, they deviate from one to another. You change. We do it with a preconceived idea, whether it comes from our culture, whether it comes from our brought up, our family background, our style of living, or our experience. So Louis Pirandello made an experiment in dramatic technique, because every day when we go to the movie, after 15 minutes, the great audience of British people, when they found that the drama has already started and we are talking to each other, they couldn't get that the drama already started with the things. So what I am highlighting here is we have preconceived things in our minds. We have a fixed ideas about something. Suppose we are going to a marriage ceremony.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Our next paper presenter is Janki Naik from Mehsana College, MA Semester 4.
Consists of 39 plays, 154 sonnets and 3 long narrative poems. This play have been translated into every major living languages and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. Then, King Lear. King Lear is a tragic hero of this play. King Lear is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare. There are 2 versions, but modern editors usually complete this to produce a single play. Both versions are based on the mythological Lear written. King Lear his power and land to his daughters. He becomes distributes and implies and the prospect loss of political mechanism. The major theme of the King Lear, the love, betrayal, revenge, King Lear. And Albany was the husband of Bonbon, also husband of a Regan, then King of France, husband of a Cordelia. King Lear's decisions. Lear, the king of Britain, decided to step down from the throne and divide his kingdom, evenly among his resentment son. Edgar is trying to kill him, killing that Monthan that his father has set for him. Edgar discusses himself as a crazy beggar and calls himself poor Tom. Like Lear, he heads out onto the hill. When the royal clusters realize that Lear's daughters have turned against their father, he decided to help Lear. In spite of the danger from Regan and her husband Cornwall, Gloucester becomes blind as a result of
Paper presenter is Ritik Singh from University College of Arts, MA Semester 2.
Thank you, Himali. Good morning, respected professors and my dear friends. I am Ritik Singh, a student of English Literature in MA Semester 2 of University College of Arts. I am going to talk about untouchability, a hypocrisy of superior caste with special reference to untouchables. Untouchables is a novel by Mulkraj Anand, published in 1935. The book was inspired by her aunt's experience when she had a meal with a Muslim woman and was treated as an outcast by her family. The novel depicts the story of Bakha, a sweeper boy, an untouchable, abused and humiliated by superior caste people, and considered polluted. Problems of untouchability is still prevalent in the society, and Mulkraj Anand, through his novel Untouchables, bring to light the sorrows and sufferings that high caste Hindus inflicted on the untouchables. Mulkraj Anand, one of the most regarded Indian novelists writing in English, was born in Peshawar. He was educated at the universities of Lahore, London and Cambridge and lived in England for many years. Finally, he got settled in a village in western India after the war. His main concern has always been for the creatures in the lower depths of Indian society who once were men and women, the rejected who had no way to articulate their anguish against the oppressors. Anand cites the time he spent at Mahatma Gandhi's Sabarmati Ashram in 1927 as a source of inspiration for the social protest novel. The novel covers the theme of discrimination and segregation, social realism, untouchability, servility, impartiality, and equilibrium, etc. Baka is a proud and attractive young man, but as an untouchable, he is an outcast in a society that is against him by design. A sweeper and latrine cleaner in pre-independence India is subjected to humiliation and hardship at every turn. But the arrival of Mahatma Gandhi in town one day ushers in an idea that could change Baka's life forever. Baka, a sweeper boy, unclean himself, excluded from social intercourse and consolations of his religion, pollutes others when he touches them. This kind of mentality existed in India and still present in rural and urban areas of India. We have examples from our Purans and Shastra about this class distinction in society. Guru Dronacharya refused to take Eklavya as a disciple just because he was a Sudra. The same in the case of Karna. Karna, says Parshurama, cursed Karna when he came to know that he is a Sudra, not a Brahmin. The Orthodox Hindus in India, however, misinterpreted the writings in holy books and formed the presumption that lower castes are outcast and polluted. This went ahead and later lower castes are considered as untouchables and degraded. They were excluded from the society and natural resources like water, food and other things by superior Hindus. Now, as per my perspective, untouchability is a hypocrisy of superior castes. In 1950, the Constitution of India legally abolished the practice of untouchability. After that, just to contain superiority, superior castes claimed to be better than lower castes. In general, we can take example that a Brahmin refuses to drink water from the house of lower caste people because he thinks that by doing so, he will be polluted and filthy. Untouchability is not widely present in India, but it is still in some places. It has changed its form as class distinction and caste system. Maybe untouchability is gone, but the inequality among the human is still existing. Dalits are still ill-treated and humiliated. Untouchability was the cause of all other incidents and actions. Anand's untouchables, however, focuses on the social consciousness and some of the worst customs and traditions which authorize the caste Hindus to exploit the outcast for their selfish interest. Here I stop. Thank you.
Hello and good morning. I am Mohammed Safwan from the KMSPL College. Thank you so much, organizer, for hearing here. Today I am presenting here facets of ruthlessness in the character of Hamlet. In the presentation, we will see introduction, Hamlet's ghost, tragedy, violation of laws while play created Hamlet as a tragic hero. The hero struggle with two opposing forces, moral integrity and the need to avenge his father's murder. Shakespeare focused on this conflict was different from contemporary revenge tragedies, which tended to graphically dramatize violent act on stage by emphasizing the hero's dilemma rather than actually showing the bloody deeds. Hamlet Ghost. The story of Hamlet starts off with a group of guards and Horatio seeing King Hamlet's ghost. Horatio tells Hamlet about the ghost, and the ghost reveals to Hamlet that Claudius, who is now king, killed him. The ghost tells Hamlet to avenge his death by killing Claudius, but not to harm Gertrude, Hamlet's mother, while doing so. Hamlet sets off on a mission, characteristics of a tragic hero. Violation of laws while play created, Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, violates the law by killing different people such as Polonius, Latus, Claudius and Guildenstern, making him a tragic hero. Hamlet's madness leads him down this path of destruction in which he became a tragic hero as shown throughout the play. Thank you.
Thank you, Safwan. And the last paper presenter is me, Himali Parmar. I am a student of M A Semester 2 English Literature, GD Modi College of Arts, Palanpur. My subject for the paper is Lust for Excessive Knowledge is Disastrous, explained with reference of Frankenstein. Abstract. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, an English writer, produced a science fiction novel Frankenstein. The work was encouraged by her husband Percy Shelley. The work tells the story of a natural philosopher, Victor, and his monster. In this paper, one of the main themes of novel, knowledge, is discussed. Victor and his monster are compared to Dr. Faustus and major characters of Paradise Lost. Introduction. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley was an English novelist who wrote a remarkable novel Frankenstein. She was daughter of philosopher William Godwin and Mary Wollstonecraft. Her mother was also a philosopher and feminist. Mary Shelley was married to renowned poet and philosopher Percy Bysshe Shelley. Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley were friends, which contains 3 different narrations. Victor Frankenstein, a natural philosopher, creates a simulacrum human, in other words, a monster, in a scientific experiment. The invention leads Victor and his family to death. The horrifying narration moves us and keeps us cling to work till the end. Disastrous knowledge. One of the main themes of the novel is the excessive knowledge. If we talk about Victor, he was fond of reading about natural philosophy, which changed his life. The work of Cornelius Agrippa inspired him to read more. His professors M. Crimpy and M. Waldman inspired and guided him to acquire natural philosophy. His lust made him create a monster which brought doom to his life. The lust for knowledge is not only limited to Victor, but it is also shown in the monster. The monster learned a whole new language just by observing a family like an infant. Once he came across a bunch of books which included Milton's Paradise Lost, Plutarch's Lives, and the Sorrows of Water. Reading of these books led the monster to take revenge and demand a partner just like him from his creator. His will for knowing was a major reason of all the circumstances in the novel. Not only the 2 major characters, but Robert Walton, a sailor and the main narrator of the story, was also a victim of knowledge and ambition. He desired to reach a place by sailing where never a man imprinted his foot. He wished to gain wondrous powers. Walton was also fond of reading. He read voyages of different people to North Pacific Ocean. His aim led him to a place fully covered with ice where he met Victor. Walton liked Victor, but Victor is innocent in comparison to Dr. Faustus. Faustus was well informed about the circumstances of selling his soul, but he was not feeling guilty at all. But here, Victor was unaware of what will happen. Victor was feeling guilty for whatever he had done. He knew that he had made a mistake. The book quotes a line of Victor: "Sleep fled from my eyes. I wandered like an evil spirit, for I had committed deeds of mischief beyond description horrible, and more, much more was yet behind." If we talk about the monster, the creating, then like Eve, monster also had a lust for knowledge. The monster ate the fruit of knowledge by reading and learning a new language, and that is where the doom of the novel began. After gaining knowledge, monster demanded a partner, a female monster, for sympathy and compassion. It was exactly the way Adam demanded Eve. But Victor did not finish his task of making a monster, and that led to the horrifying deaths of his family and friends. To conclude, all the themes are well described in novel, but the root of every incident is knowledge. The way of narration of Mary Shelley is a remarkable aspect of the novel. The theme of novel was quite new at the time from its contemporary works. Some considered this novel as the first science fiction novel of English literature. Thank you.
Till the results come.
Dr. Manish Rawal sir, Head Department of English, GD Modi College of Arts, Professor and the poet Mukesh Bhai Rawal sir, all my dear students of GD Modi College of Arts, M A Sem 2 and M A Sem 4, all the students who participated and presented a paper on the subject, all the students who have come from different colleges of our university. First of all, I am so happy that our department has organized this symposium for the students, and this is the concern of teaching fraternity to be considerate towards our students in some different way, because all the time you listen to your regular professors, and this is a change that you have got today, that Dr. Anil Kapoor sir and the other PG students, they have come here and they share their views. So it's a different experience. Another very fascinating thing that I have found in this seminar is that the topic and the word cognition. And this cognition, if we take this word very seriously, sometimes a single word becomes a game changer in our life. So this word cognition is the soul of this seminar, this symposium. And when we talk about cognition, definitely it is a process, a very scientific process, a very spiritual process that enhances our understanding and the meanings. I would like to borrow two ideas from the speakers who delivered their speech. One idea from Dr. Anil Kapoor when he mentioned Dante's Divine Comedy, and he quoted one sentence of Dante that, I found myself in the dark room. And then Dr. Anil Kapoor said that it took him 20 years because he spent 20 years in the exile. And after spending 20 years in the exile, this sentence is uttered. This meaning is created. And the same idea is elaborated by Professor Mukesh Rawal in his own poetic style, that in different stages of his life, he found different meanings. And I would like to add one more meaning, that there was a friendship, the ideal friendship, the platonic friendship of the two friends. When Dharmendra found that there was only king in both the aspects of the coin, there was no cross and king. And the friend here is a friend who sacrificed his life. So meaning lies in deeds, not in words only. One more dimension I can share here is that for everything there is outer and inner meaning, and inner meaning requires a number of efforts. Without efforts you cannot carve out the inner meaning. Say for example, what is the outward meaning? I give you one example of the Tempest that I performed in this play. I performed the role of Caliban in the play, and I found a very, very interesting dialogue that the character utters this sentence that what a strange repose it is that a man is standing, speaking, sitting, looking, and yet in a fast asleep. So there is a meaning in the context, there is an outward meaning, dictionary meaning, but there is a universal meaning. When the artist is a great artist, then you will find layers of meanings, and in order to assimilate layers of meanings, one has to struggle, one has to be prepared, one has to be ready for the process. And Anil Kapoor gave a very ready-made solution. You have to read. We are not reading. And there is another meaning of reading. For example, I am reading for MPhil. So that is also reading. I am reading a book. Now, this sentence, કે ભઈ આ કેટલી વિચિત્રતા છે કે માણસ બોલે છે, ચાલે છે, વાંચે છે, બેસે છે, છતાં ઘસઘસાટ ઊંઘે છે. અને પછીના ડાયલોગમાં એ કહે છે કે ભઈ હું ક્યાં ઊંઘું છું જોઉં. So there is a Shakespeare is talking about the psychological sleep. For example, you are attending this symposium. So many times you have been in imaginations. When I was taking your snaps and videography, you people were eagerly you were looking at the speaker and you pretended or you were really attending or listening to the speaker. But there is a psychological sleep Shakespeare is pointing out. So that is what personally I found the meaning, that here the Shakespeare has a universal meaning. So everything has an outer meaning and inner meaning, right? Say for example, the outer meaning of this symposium is that you have paid the fees, you have enrolled yourself, you have attended it. But the inner meaning is that this is a very important activity and it will create certain process in the mind of the students, and after attending this symposium religiously, you will be different. The outer meaning is that the college feels that we have to, as in the Department of English, we should organize such activities for NEC purpose or for any other purpose. But the inner meaning is that even the NEC desires, the intention of the NEC is that every student should know what is the way of exchanging ideas and dialogues and interactions in the symposium. Symposium is a beautiful word in which we share our ideas without any kind of shyness, any reservations or anything. And the key word in the entire, this symposium is the conceive. So I conceived when I read, but I struggled, I experienced, and when I was talking about King Lear, the Cordelia's character, I found that it is in the tragedy of King Lear, Cordelia played a very important role. She has a lion's share in bringing about the tragedy, because there were certain words that offended the feelings of Lear, and certain kind of strangeness was there in the character of Cordelia, her introvertness, and what she really feels she couldn't express. So outer meaning is very easy. For example, you have come here and you have attended it. It is the inner meaning that is important. I don't know how much time I have, but one example I give you, our mythological stories all have inner meaning. For example, there is a very popular story of churning of oceans. Dev and Danavas, they are churning the ocean. On the one hand there are Danavas, and there is a struggle, the constant struggle is going on. So it is not a mythical story or imaginary story, but the struggle is constantly happening. Okay? The Danavas represents the opposite energy, that every second, even right now you are in imagination and you struggle and you want to pay attention. So Danavas is pulling you towards the one pole, and Deva in you, the part, that part in you that is interested in attending it and learning something from it. So that churning is going on. That pushing and pulling, that is going on. And that is in me. So that is the inner meaning. So it is the inner meaning that is important, and the universe is such a wonderful phenomenon that for everything you will find, the inner and outer. And the outer is something that appears, the only the surface. It is the inner that is important. For example, outwardly you are attending. What really happens inside? So what the author says, the inner, that is important, and many more things can be said. But again, I cannot help congratulating the students who, when Dr. Manish Rawal sir and I urged them to participate, immediately, without any reluctance, they showed their willingness to participate in the symposium. That willingness is very meaningful. That willingness is something of great importance for us, and that has created the world of cognitions. So keep on this in SEM 3 and 4, right? So here I take a pause. Thank you so much.